Hey everybody, we just got a new Nintendo Direct earlier this week, so I figured now would be a good time to go over a few of the things that we saw there, give you guys my impressions on some of the stuff that got revealed, and go over which things we had talked about in my predictions video beforehand that did come true, and go over a few of the things that weren't there, whose absence actually surprised me a bit as well. And go over a couple of things that have happened outside of the Nintendo Direct in the world of gaming. But before we get into that stuff, I want to talk about something that happened in the world of Nintendo leakers. So this February Nintendo Direct came and went, and as usual, of course there were plenty of fake leaks out there beforehand. However, one Twitter account got a lot of attention because it appeared to have predicted most of the Direct correctly. This account was called Waddle Dee Knows. Now right off the bat, I didn't trust this to be real at all and completely wrote it off as an obvious fake, as it had all the telltale signs of the Twitter trick. And I'll talk about the Twitter trick in a moment. Anyway, very shortly after it started gaining attention, both on Twitter and on some gaming journalism sites, the account actually announced to everyone that it was a fake account. This account was an experiment to see how easy it is to fake it and make it. Yeah, I guessed everything in the Direct and deleted the stuff that didn't show up. I then said weird stuff to catch people off guard like in Kanto, or tell them what they want to hear with GoldenEye. They went on to say, I wanted to see how easy this was, and unfortunately, it's very easy. 2,000 in 7 hours. VGC claimed to be an expert source, but report on some Twitter account they didn't even attempt to verify. I hope this can become an example to not randomly trust faceless anonymous profiles. And then on top of that reveal, Good Vibes Gaming posted a new video revealing the account was actually John Cartwright in disguise. For John's full take on why they did this, go check out that video. I'll leave a link to it in the description below. My understanding is John wanted to see how easy this would be to fake and to prove a cautionary point about trusting anonymous Twitter users with Nintendo leak accounts. So kind of calling out, though never naming directly, accounts like Samus Hunter, Leaky Pandy, and Marco Maru. I mean, just take a look at the Waddle Dee Knows Nintendo HQ banner image, and then compare it to what Samus Hunter has. Pretty clear this was done as a direct parody for the Waddle Dee Knows account. And I'll talk more about some of those Twitter leakers in a second, as some of them took a big hit with this Direct, beyond just John making the Waddle Dee Knows account. So anyway, I'm honestly really surprised people got fooled by this one, even for just a brief time. The Twitter trick has been known about for a long time now. For anyone who doesn't know, basically what the Twitter trick is, and it's extremely simple, is someone makes a Twitter account, and then they post a bunch of predictions for a ton of things. Tons of possible dates for like a Nintendo Direct to happen, and what would be announced during it, etc. Usually these predictions are somewhat vague, and almost always just a single post, so as not to tie too many possibilities together into one post. And then after a Nintendo Direct or some other gaming information dump or announcement happens, the account will then delete all of the wrong predictions they made, leaving only the real ones. Then the account will start following people and posting itself around the internet for attention. Since people have never seen this account, people see the posts, see that they came true, and it appears as if the account was an actual real insider and leaker the whole time. I warned against this technique multiple times during Smash speculation. Anyone remember Mandy Can? That account did the Twitter trick. They were called out for it, and after they couldn't get anything right after their initial posts, they admitted to doing the Twitter trick, and then shut down. Every time a new leaker burst onto the scene, especially with a Twitter account, we'd check for the telltale signs of the Twitter trick, and generally we'd ignore anyone who seemed to clearly have done it. This happened multiple times with Smash leaks, and I'm unsure if John doing it again was necessary to inform people about it, but seeing as how many people still fell for it this time, maybe it actually was necessary to get people informed. John points out that real leakers, like, for example, Practical Brush 12, seem to only show up now and then when they have real information, usually right before something happens. They don't run entire accounts dedicated to leaking and posting new leaks like every week or so for attention. And doing that sort of thing is pretty absurd and likely a good indicator of an account being fake, which is probably true for the most part. I will say I don't totally agree with John's take on leaks and leakers though. For instance, I've seen him write things off in the past before simply for being posted anonymously from someone with no prior history or credibility. And I don't think it's always wise to just write off and ignore everything out there simply because it has no history attached to it. For example, John himself wrote off the Disney music leak for Sora, seemingly entirely because it was anonymously posted on 4chan, and because of that fact alone, apparently he concluded it must be fake. While we can never definitively prove whether it was a real leak or not, it did predict Sora and the date for his reveal months in advance, so I'm inclined to lean towards it very likely being real all along. Now, I'm not bringing this up to harp on who's believed correct leaks, who's fallen for fake leaks, who's not believed real leaks, etc. I think everyone out there who weighs in at all about potential leaks has been on either side of that fence in the past at one time or another, myself definitely included. I simply suggest that this stuff shouldn't really be about if you fell for it or not, and that both believing things at face value and dismissing things at face value isn't the right way to look at potential leaks. People dismissed the July 30th Disney Music Sora leak posted on 4chan because a second post in September, right before the September Direct, had said essentially the same thing, but changed the October 5th date to just September. On the surface, having that second post in September appears like it's someone faking a leak by changing the date, and many people considered it debunked once that post was found. However, I had suggested that it actually made more sense for it to be real, as some random faker coming back to change the date for their fake leak story they made months ago that no one noticed made absolutely no sense. What did make sense is someone with real info coming back to change the date, as maybe they assumed, like so many of us did at the time, that the final Smash character would be in that Direct. So maybe this leaker was worried their October 5th date that they had heard back in July had been changed. So they wanted to make sure to repost their leak before the Direct in case Sora was there, but say September now. That way they'd still have a real leak posted once Sora had been revealed. Frankly, I think that's precisely what happened with the Disney Music leak for Sora, and people assuming it was debunked because of that second post could be seen as just as much of a cautionary tale to not be so quick to dismiss leaks as the Twitter trick accounts, like Waddle Dee Knows, are a good cautionary tale not to believe leaks outright either. Use your judgment and weigh the possibilities with any potential leak. That's the right way to handle this stuff. So while I totally think John making people aware of the Twitter trick is a very good thing, and I totally praise John for helping to educate people on exactly what the signs of the Twitter trick are and how to spot these fake leakers, especially on Twitter, I also don't think concluding that this means we should just write off anyone or anything that doesn't have any prior credibility as being totally fake on those grounds alone is the right way to think about leaks either. But that's just my take on the whole thing. Now, with that in mind, there's certainly a few of these leaker Twitter accounts out there that did not come out of this Direct in very good shape. Not saying that any of these did the Twitter trick to get credibility initially and have just been guessing at stuff ever since. Their credibility and what they've gotten right or wrong is on full display online, so judge how much you believe these people based on all of that. But mainly I'm referring to Marco Maru and Leaky Pandy's Nintendo Kart leak. Dr. Serkan Toto was also talking about Mario Kart 9 being in active development, but never referred to it as a Nintendo Kart, just that it would have a new twist. But that's so vague, it's nearly non-info. And actually, even what they said doesn't totally fit for what we got, the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe DLC. And not an actual Mario Kart 9, but, whatever. Maybe he heard they were just working on Mario Kart. Who knows? I can give the benefit of the doubt to him at least. But anyway, we had multiple of these Twitter leakers talking about how the next Mario Kart would be a Nintendo Kart. This rumor became very widespread. I talked about it, and so did lots and lots of other channels and people out there. And of course, what we have instead is DLC for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Now, this of course doesn't mean that a Nintendo Kart can't happen, or even be in the works right now, but since this DLC is lasting until the end of 2023, I have to say that it certainly makes the Nintendo Kart leaks seem rather unlikely to be legitimate leaks. If somehow the next Mario Kart happens in like 2024 or something, once this massive DLC is over, and it actually does lean more towards the side of being a Nintendo Kart, then maybe there was something to these leaks. But for now, the announcement of Mario Kart 8 DLC seems like a massive L for the Nintendo Kart leaks. Now, personally, I think this was a smart move for Nintendo. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still topping the charts in terms of sales, so adding another Mario Kart game to the Switch would probably confuse many casual Switch players, and that's certainly where a lot of the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe sales are coming from. Just about anyone who's bought or buys a Switch is also buying Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. So the amount of households eligible to purchase DLC is bigger than any other Switch title they could do DLC for. The DLC also is free with a Nintendo Switch expansion pack account, and I have to say, when the expansion pack was first revealed and they showed you'd get the Animal Crossing DLC free with a subscription, I thought that was pretty neat, but not enough to get me to actually upgrade my account. However, I also said if they continued to give free DLC for other Nintendo games for the subscribers for the expansion pack, I'd probably buy into it then. So yeah, I think assuming they continue to add more future Nintendo DLC for subscribers, I'll likely finally upgrade and sign up for the expansion pack now. I know this isn't for everyone, but I'm a Nintendo fanboy who was bound to get the expansion pack eventually. I know I'll lose the DLC if I ever unsubscribe, but to be blunt, I doubt I'll ever actually downgrade or just completely stop buying the Nintendo Online subscription. So I personally was basically just waiting to see if the value of the expansion pack would indeed continue to grow with time, adding things like future Nintendo game DLC if you're a subscriber, and that seems to be the case. I guess the only real concern for me would be if Nintendo ever changes their subscription in the far future and I lose DLC for all these older games, which I might still enjoy playing at that point, but let's hope that doesn't happen, and so long as I'm like a lifetime subscriber to the Nintendo Switch Online, I'll always have this DLC. Now, as for the DLC itself, it's absolutely massive, 48 more tracks. That doubles the amount of tracks for Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is crazy. This is the size of a whole new game. It puts Mario Kart 8 Deluxe in the same Smash Ultimate territory, where the next iteration of the series, either Smash or Mario Kart, will now have a tough act to follow, as this will likely be the biggest Mario Kart ever. And I don't know if a sequel could actually have like 100 or more tracks at launch to top what they're doing here. And considering it's basically the size of a whole new Mario Kart game, the $24.99 price point is essentially half price for a new Mario Kart. Not everybody is super excited about this, and there are some issues here. For one, they said nothing about adding any new characters, only tracks. And I personally would have loved to get some new characters and like kart parts as well. Maybe they'll end up surprising us with some of that, but it seems like this DLC will only add tracks. So that is a bit disappointing since we know the DLC will roll out until the end of 2023. And that basically means, aside from Mario Kart Tour getting new characters, we probably won't see any new Mario Kart characters for at least that long. Also, speaking of Mario Kart Tour, it seems most of the tracks here are simply ported Mario Kart Tour tracks. I still think it's cool to get them in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe on the Switch, and not just have these tracks on a mobile game. Things like Coconut Mall have been sorely missed, but still I understand why some people feel a little cheated here, especially since nearly all the tracks in the first wave are actually Mario Kart Tour tracks, and seems Nintendo likely used the same assets to build the Mario Kart 8 Deluxe versions of these tracks. Essentially, it appears we are kind of getting straight ports of Mario Kart Tour tracks for this DLC. This doesn't bug me, and I like the idea of having all the tracks on the Switch game, but still I get why some people are mad about this. Now, probably the most interesting thing here about this DLC is that it's actually for Mario Kart 8. Well, the deluxe Switch port version anyway, but still, this is technically a 2014 game getting DLC nearly a decade later. I'm sure this is a special circumstance, and I doubt this is setting a precedence that we should expect games to get support this far into their lifespan. Again, Mario Kart 8 Deluxe is still selling phenomenally, so it's a special case for sure, but it does give me some hope for what I've been hopeful for might be the future of the Smash Bros. Series. Simply continuing Smash Bros. Ultimate as like a deluxe version and possibly adding more DLC. That definitely seemed like a bit of wishful thinking before, but now with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe getting DLC this far into its lifespan, and Smash Ultimate being a nearly impossible act to follow, perhaps the obvious solution to where Smash should pick up and continue to grow a few years from now is as simple as announcing another Fighter Pass in a couple years. We now have something to point to and show that an older game can get continued DLC far past its initial release date. Alright, so what else happened in the Direct? Well, we finally got the Chrono Cross remaster revealed. We knew about that one from the NVIDIA leak, but I honestly wasn't expecting it to be revealed in a Nintendo Direct. I'm personally very excited to replay it though, I'm a big Chrono Cross fan. We of course were right in predicting a few things for this Direct too, like Kirby and the Forgotten Land getting highlighted. We saw this new Mouthful mode, which kind of reminds me of Rotom from Pokemon, so that's pretty cool. And we were right about a few other things as well, like Advance Wars getting highlighted, and we saw more of Splatoon 3, and we assumed we would. And something Fire Emblem was indeed announced, Fire Emblem 3 Hopes, a Dynasty Warriors style game with the cast of 3 houses. Not sure if this is a win or a loss for Marco Maro. I don't think Intelligent Systems is working on this one, but technically Marco Maro only said fans of theirs would be happy, so I assume fans are happy, even if that company isn't directly involved with this one. I don't know how people feel about that one. And of course, we were also right about Xenoblade Chronicles 3 getting revealed. The composer of the series pretty much gave everyone a heads up about that. And we did actually get some Earthbound news, so Itoi's cryptic snow tweet was actually a hint towards that. Earthbound and Earthbound Beginnings are now on the Nintendo Switch Online, so that scheduled maintenance for the Super NES and NES Online were worth looking at as hints for the Direct as well. Some totally surprising things were in there, like Klonoa, Portal coming to Switch, and the new Wii Sports-like game, Nintendo Switch Sports. All welcome surprises in my opinion. But probably the most exciting surprise from Nintendo for me was a new Mario Strikers game, Mario Strikers Battle League. I was a huge fan of the old Strikers games, so I'm very happy to see the series returning, and I totally dig the art style has remained. Though one thing that was pretty interesting to me that I saw is that Critter is being replaced by Boom Boom as the designated goalies. I always thought it was weird that it was Critter in the old ones anyway. Honestly made me feel like this had all started out as possibly a Donkey Kong soccer game series before they changed it to Mario, and Critter being the goalie was just a leftover from that or something. I don't know, that's just my own theory on it. Whatever the case, Boom Boom definitely makes more sense as the Mario soccer game goalie character. Also, looking at this shot of the roster lineup, assuming it stays one row of selectable characters, it appears to fit about 6 more players. I think an obvious addition is probably Daisy, she's been a staple of the series before, but who the other potentially 5 more players could be is anyone's guess. Also, more importantly than who makes it in this game is whether or not Waluigi still does this. There were also a couple Mario-related things I was surprised didn't make it into the Direct. Mario Party Superstars didn't get any DLC announced, though data mines suggest it will get additional boards at some point. And we saw nothing new from Mario plus Rabbids Sparks of Hope. Also, we did not get a Mario Bros. Movie trailer. I wasn't expecting one myself, but I know a lot of other people were. Maybe that will happen on March 10th for Mario Day, or maybe they'll save it until much closer until the movie's release at the end of the year. We also didn't get any news on the release dates for the upcoming Smash amiibos, Min Min and Steve and Alex, though I suppose a simple tweet is probably enough for that, as we have already been shown their sculpts. And of course, still no news on whether or not Sora will actually be getting an amiibo at all. I suspect even if he is getting one, we will likely have to wait a while before we hear anything about it either way. We also got no Breath of the Wild 2 news, so probably this year's E3 will be Breath of the Wild 2 focused, and we will get a massive amount of info on the game all at once there. That would be my guess anyway. And of course, there was no Pokemon news in the Direct. But with Pokemon Day coming up in just a couple weeks on February 27th, we will almost certainly get a Pokemon Presents soon and hear about what's coming for the Pokemon series this year. And probably some news on Legends Arceus DLC, which I'm already dying to hear about as I'm loving that game. Outside of the Nintendo Direct, a couple of cool things happened. Splinter was revealed as another playable character for Shredder's Revenge. This would have been cool to see in the Nintendo Direct, but oh well, it got revealed a day later. I figured Splinter would be a playable character as the opening cinematic for that game had April and Splinter highlighted fighting off some bad guys. And since we already had April revealed, Splinter seemed very likely too. Plus, the title screen looked a bit off with just April over to the right. I'd love to see more playable characters like Casey Jones or my favorite, Usagi Yojimbo, who often crosses over into the Turtles universe, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is it for base game playable characters. We also got some very interesting news from Imran Khan. Supposedly a remake of Resident Evil 4 is in the works. Resident Evil 4 is my favorite entry in the series, so I'd be all about playing a remake. Alright, well that's everything I want to talk about in this video. Beware the Twitter trick, but I'd also say be wary of writing things off too quickly as well. What do you guys think about the Nintendo Direct? Do you think the Mario Kart DLC is a good deal, or do you not like it? Were you hoping for like a Nintendo Kart? If you guys have any thoughts or comments about any of the stuff I talked about in this video, leave them below.
Remember to like the video, leave a comment in the section below, and subscribe to PapaGenos!
Twitter, Patreon, Discord.